स्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं Hari Om. Namaste everyone. My name is Sushrut. I will be conducting these sessions over a period of 40 sessions or 35 sessions, depending on the participant. We will be covering all shlokas of the Gita and their practical relevance. Now, are these sessions free? I would like to confirm with everybody. Are you aware? Yes? Are these sessions free?
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, they are not free because you're not paying money, but you're paying something very more, which is more precious than money. Can someone tell me what you're paying, if not money?
Time.
Absolutely. Yes. 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 You will all be investing a lot of time in this session, probably every adhyay. So during these sessions, one way you can probably from the previous experience, you can, if you have a diary or a note to make points of it, or, this is called journaling, channeling your thoughts. It will be useful in multiple ways. Not only will you get your own personalized, commentary of the Bhagavad Gita, because what you understand, probably nobody else will understand that way. Tomorrow you want to publish it, you may publish it as well. But you will also be able to find certain links, because when you write onto paper, you are able to connect with those shlokas. Sometimes you will see some shlokas, say from 9th adhyay, will have a connection with the 18th adhyay. There is one shloka which is perfectly 75% of the shloka is same, and yet the entire meaning, the context, everything is different. So for that, that would be useful. Again, nothing is mandatory. It's up to you. It is absolutely. Even turning on the video feeds, I will be making a request like the air hostess makes in an aeroplane. Put on your seatbelts. Whether you put it or not, that is not something I will be checking. So I will continue it as a ritual every day. So if you want to turn on, it will be wonderful to interact. So with this, we are ready. We are ready to begin our journey. Bhagavad Gita. We've all heard something about the Gita. Since it is the first session, today we will have an introduction to the Gita. Tomorrow onwards, we'll start with the first shloka of the Gita. First, introduction. I think everybody has come across the Gita. Many have studied the Gita already. So can someone tell me something so we'll get to know each other? You will get used to this platform as well on interacting. If somebody is new to the platform, can someone just share me something about the Gita? What do you know? We'll piece together whatever little bits of information we receive. Yes, what is the Gita? Anybody? One line, anything. 1 line, 2 line, as you wish. Please, can someone help me here? Hari Om. Yes?
It's all about Krishna.
It is
Oh, all right. Priyanka ji said it is all about Krishna. Then Shweta ji was saying something. Yes, Shweta ji?
the philosophy of life that Sri Krishna tells it tells it to Arjuna that involves everybody, all human life.
Okay, so Gita is like a philosophy of life. There are two characters, Krishna passing it on to Arjuna, is what Shweta ji has said. Yes, something more, please. Anything
Gita
else? Yes, ma'am.
Gita is a dialogue between Krishna and Arjun
Okay.
when Mahabharat was going to start, and in the Gita, Krishna ji is giving teachings to Arjuna that yes, you should participate in the war. So it's like when you are in a chaotic situation, he is there to help you and bring you out. So that whole, according to me, Gita ji is the whole lesson of life in short.
Okay. All
Ji.
right. Ji. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bhavani ji. So, yes, so that's beautiful. And you can see she's calling it Gita ji. There's a reason they call Gita ji, or they say just Gita means song in Sanskrit. But this Gita is not just called Gita, it's called Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Why is it called Srimad Bhagavad Gita? Because Krishna is considered Bhagwan. It has its value, the respect that is given to it. Because words said by anybody, I go on the street and say something, it may not have any value. But somebody who is probably, say the Prime Minister says something, immediately it has a different value, isn't it? Something like that. Yes, Rajivji, do you want to add something? Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, actually, I think it's a song which has been sung at the divine lips of the Lord.
Okay, Sri Mukha, Krishna's divine song, that is called the Gita. One more reason it's a song because it's like a melody. It is something so beautiful. There's a rhythm in it. It's something in the middle of the battlefield, as Avnitji shared. It has chaotic, in the middle of the battlefield, not in a seminar room, not in a library. It is right in the middle of a battlefield. Yet, it is having its relevance today because we also fight battles, maybe not with swords anymore, but we do fight different types of battles, and probably it has some reference. So again, going back to it, it is from what they call the Mahabharat. Mahabharat is one of the first granthas of India. One of the. There are before Gita, before Mahabharat also there were. So Gita can be called a grantha, isn't it? Everybody? Yes, it's a scripture. Gita is a scripture which is a part of a bigger scripture called Mahabharat. In Mahabharat, there are many parts which we call parvas. In the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharat, the Bhagavad Gita comes in between. It is a part of Mahabharat. Yet, it's so special that it has got a name of its own. People consider it as a completely special and different book on its own. So it is Srimad Bhagavad Gita, part of Bhishma Parva. It is in which language, anybody?
Sanskrit.
Sanskritam. Is Sanskrit a language of communication? Anybody? Do you agree? Do you think the same?
Yes, it is.
It is a language of communication. Okay, anybody can communicate in Sanskrit here? संस्कृतेन सम्भाषणं कोऽपि कर्तुं शक्नोति वा अत्र? Astu. No problem. So it is a language. It is a language. There was a time when people would speak. It's just like the language now we are having. Language is a medium for passing. Krishna used Sanskrit language for passing on some higher consciousness through what we can say system of dialogue in the Bhagavad Gita. It is definitely a scripture in Sanskrit language. My question is this the oldest scripture known to mankind? Yes or no?
No.
No. Nagaraji says no. If not, which is the oldest? Yes? Yes, sir? Yes, Nagaraji? If not the Gita, do you have a guess? Something you wish to make, or you know it? Which is the oldest scripture?
No, I may not be able to guess it,
All
but
right.
I know there is few things before.
There are older. There
Yeah.
were things before Gita. All right, Ji. Okay, so Nagaraji has given us the direction. So there is something older. So what is older than the Gita then in scriptures? Anybody?
The Puranas and the Vedas.
Okay, Puranas and the Vedas. In between Puranas and Vedas also there were a set of books, set of texts, which they called Vedanta, isn't it?
Upanishads.
Absolutely. So there are Upanishads, there are Upanishads that were before, there were Vedas that were before. So what we understand is this is not the oldest. All right. So since we're looking, why should we go for second or third? We always look at the first, isn't it? So what is first? Vedas. Can someone tell me something about the Vedas? There are 4 Vedas. So first Veda, something about it. Yes. Geetaji? Yeah.
So Vedas is a set of Sanatana Dharma's rules. It's a talk about all the life rules, how to lead the life for
Okay.
all the people.
All right. Vedas talk about the way of life, and meaning of Veda, the root is also Vidya, knowledge. Vid means knowledge. Ved means knowledge only. If you see the Rug, Yajur, Sama, Atharva Veda are there. There is Ayurveda also is a part of one of the Vedas. But what Vedas had different angas, we can say. So in Vedas, we see the first one as the Rug Veda. Rug Veda is in which language? Anybody?
Sanskrit.
Okay, Rig Veda is said to be in Sanskrit language. What is invoked in the Rig Veda? Who is invoked? Is it Krishna?
Indira.
Okay, Nagaraj says Indra is invoked. Only Indra?
No, Surya.
Okay, Indra, Surya, Mitra, Varuna, Aryaman, Bhaga, Ila, Saraswati, Sarama. The list, so many gods and goddesses are invoked. in the Rig Veda. Through what? The invocations are done through the form of
Verses.
verses or
Verses.
suktas, we can say. It
Suktas, yeah,
begins with
suktas, right.
yes, absolutely. So Rig Veda is in the form of suktas. Now, the entire world was curious because there was a time when the world was in a dark age. I think evolution had not yet taken place. But in India, there were already the Vedas. And they were wondering, what is this? People are getting curious. I'll just mute everybody so there's no distortion. But you can please unmute yourself anytime you want to speak. So the entire world was curious. They tried to understand, especially the West, because they felt Alpha Omega originated from them. So where is Bharat? How did something begin before? They dismissed these invocations as invocations of barbarians who were they were called nature worshippers. So we just worship nature. But is Rig Veda only some barbaric practice of nature worship? Only? No, it's not. If you see, there's something called Secret of Veda. Has anybody heard of this book called Secret of Veda? Yes, please unmute yourself. If anybody has heard of this book, Secret of Veda, it's over 100 years plus old actually, written by Sri Aurobindo himself. So he beautifully described, he said, yes, the Vedic invocations were, when physical Agni, they talked about the physical Agni, but they also talked about the Agni which is inside of us. There is the fire that has its symbolism. There is a hidden meaning. There's something called the esoteric meaning, and there is one more, the practical meaning. So the Veda had a very beautiful, a secret which was concealed inside. Each of the devas had their significance. In the Puranas, Indra is shown differently, but in the Rig Veda, Indra is different. There is also Vishnu in the Rig Veda, but Vishnu of the Rig Veda is different from Vishnu of the Puranas. Saraswati of the Rig Veda, she is one goddess whose meaning has not changed, whether in the Puranas or in the Rig Vedas. There is a lot of symbolism inside. And the interesting aspect, though in Sanskrit, the Vedic Sanskrit is different from the Sanskrit which is now, what we can say, prachalit, or which is going on right now. So if at all you want to learn the Vedas, you'll probably have to connect with that ancient Sanskrit also, isn't it? And there are how many suktas? There are thousands of suktas, so many devas. And are we seeing temples of Vedic goddesses all around us? Yes? Yes or no? Have you heard of a temple for Bhaga or Dakshina or Sarama Devi? Yes? Or Ila? No. So somewhere now something we have lost that connect with our ancient devas also, but we want to understand it. If, say, for example, you find a Gurukul and the Guru says, I will teach you the Rig Veda, I will teach you exactly what is there in the Rig Veda. You'll have to spend this many years with me. How many of you will leave everything and go there if you get that chance? No, isn't it? We all have different, what we can say, karma bandhanas. We have our duty. The student has to learn. If they're elder, they have to take care of their family. They have to provide. So even if we do get the opportunity, I don't think it would be easy to leave everything and go. So then, can we say this Janma, we have got disconnected from the Vedas? Maybe our ancestors knew about it, but we have disconnected and there is no hope? Or is there a hope to understand what is there in the Vedas? Anybody? Is there a second route for understanding the Vedas? If not directly, study of the Vedas. Anyone?
I think yes,
Yes, Nitiji. Can you tell me how?
because I think the Bhagavad Gita is churned out from all the Vedas. We can't
Absolutely.
reach the Vedas directly, so just
Okay.
the butter. I think the name of the group
Okay.
is butter of the Vedas.
Okay, so the churning, what we can say, the Amrita, that is what is there in the Vedas. That can be understood with the Gita. Yes, Gita can become your sopana to accessing the Vedic wisdom as well. So that is true, and this is an experience of many people. We have had an experience of participants who studied the Gita. After study of Gita, since we had told on the first day, they wanted to test the hypothesis. They said, after studying Gita, we should be able to understand something in the Veda. So we took up one sukta of the Veda randomly. Some 9 suktas we saw. I was surprised because when I completed, while I was taking the sukta, participants were giving me examples of Gita. They said, this is there in this adhyay. This is there in that adhyay. I can see Gita reference in the Veda. It is actually the other way around, isn't it? Veda was before, but the participants were able to understand. So yes, we don't need to lose hope, or we don't need to think that this is far too much for us or beyond our understanding. The divine will's understanding is possible for each and every one of us. But what we must understand is, yes, the Vedic wisdom can be accessed through the Gita, so it has another scriptural significance. After the Vedas, what came after the Vedas? They said the Vedanta. Anybody knows anything about it? What are the Vedantic texts? Yes? Something about it? Anta means end, isn't it? So something finished out the Vedas, or what happened then? Anything? Yes, please. What is this Vedanta? Anyone?
Vedanata anta, maybe end of suffering.
Oh,
Maybe.
that is interesting. Marathi Vedana.
Yeah.
Okay, end of Vedana is yes, that's interesting. But Vedanta is actually not necessarily what is end means the finish only. Sometimes the culmination. Vedas took a consciousness. If you see, these were all formulas of different rishis and rishikas. When they invoked gods, they wanted their future people to also be able to experience. Like when one Varuna Sukta, he says, "I saw Varuna moving this way. I can see his presence. Oh, give me that strength to realize what vision I have to see in my life." All these invocations were given in the form of a secret code. Maybe future people will understand. But the problem in the Vedas was, it's not a problem, it is problem for us not understanding. It was because, you see, Vedas were written by whom? Not one person, isn't it? There were different sects. There was the Atris, like there's one mandala which is called Atri Mandala. There are 10 books in the Rig Veda. There are 10 mandalas. In that, one mandala is dedicated to Atri because the Atri lineage of rishis, they had their style. Another was Madhu Chandas, honey rhythm rishi. His rhythm was different. Rishi Bharadwaj had another way. So each of them had a different style. Each of them had a different way. So that meant we need to understand the nuances of each and every single person. And because it was so different style, sometimes you see the suktas are very small. Some suktas have only say 8 shlokas. Some have 28 or 38 shlokas. And all are invoking sometimes one god, sometimes 2 gods. Indra alone is invoked, or Indra and Mitra is invoked, or Varuna is invoked with Mitra. Agni is invoked with Indra, or Agni alone. Sometimes all the devas are invoked together. They are like Vishwe Devas together, all of them. So they confused especially Western Indologists who never understood that this one Deva's form becomes another afterwards. One truth can be manifested in different ways. That was not understood. So they never understood the secret. And even that time, what happened was the evolution was taking place. Newer languages were developing, and people were moving away from what was the Vedic Sanskrit. So some great rishis, they felt this wisdom should not be lost. And they started creating this body of texts that we call the Upanishads. They are called the Vedanta. Anybody knows names of any of the Upanishads? Yes, please. Any name of the Upanishad?
Santokya Upanishads.
Chandogya Upanishad. All right. Any other Upanishad we can see or think of?
Isha.
Okay, Om Prakash ji says Isha Upanishad. Its name has come from the first shloka only. Isha Vasyam Midam Sarvam. Yes, Rajiv ji?
Kenopanishad.
Okay, Isha, Kena, Chandogya. Any other Upanishads coming up?
Kathopanishad, Mundaka,
Nishchal ji?
Mandukya.
Mundaka. Okay, Mundaka, Mandukya. Very nice.
Prashna Upanishad.
Prashna Upanishad. Okay, then Prashna means question, isn't it? So the Prashna Upanishad, each there's one Katha Upanishad also. Like there's Kena, there are so many Upanishads. Anybody can give me a rough number of the Upanishads? Yes, please. How many are there? 6, 7, 10? Any numbers?
108.
Okay, Niti ji says 108. Anybody would like to up that number?
There are 11 main Upanishads and 58 sub-Upanishads.
Acha, 11 and 58. And whose classification is that, Nishchal ji?
No, not sure.
Not sure. All right, fine, no problem. That's one classification. Some say Ashtadasha Upanishads are the important ones. And there is interesting because many times people, these classifications are by the, we can say maybe learned people or some person has some criteria. But there was also interesting, Isha Upanishad was pushed away from the list of Pramukh Upanishad by Shishya of a particular school of Vedanta. Why? Because that particular way they talked about living full 100 years, and this person understood his teacher's teaching about getting moksha quickly, and so 100 years were not fitting into his kind of interpretation. So they tried to remove it, but truth is truth. Ultimately, it came back. But if you look at the number, there were over 200 Upanishads. What happened to them? We are remembering 108. Anybody? What happened to the Upanishads? If there were over 200, they were lost because of what we have. We have a very big baggage of civilizational history that we carry. If anybody knows of Nalanda, there was a fire in Nalanda. Has anybody heard of that? Yes? Yes?
Yes.
So Nalanda was existed. Yes, Manisha ji wants to add something? Yes, ji?
Yes, I know about the fire that happened,
It
that
was a
burned the
library. Yeah. No, means
library. Yes.
yes, but my question is, why would people do that? Why would people try to kill? Wars take place. People, one Akranta tries to invade and kill the other, and then they win. But why learn? Why go after books? Why go after libraries? It's for fire. Fire for so many days it burned. Why? Because they tried. They tried to destroy the source of our wisdom, the source of our strength. But is our books the source of our strength? Yes? Books only are the source of our strength? Do we receive everything from the books only? Nagraji?
Yeah, one of the sources of knowledge.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
otherwise, what is the
there's
higher
been
than? Yeah?
traditional way of passing from generation to generation,
From
guru to
generation to
shishya.
Guru to Shishya. And where did the first book also, who got the idea for the first book? It came from somewhere, isn't it?
Ved
From a
Vyas,
source. Yeah, it was where Ved Vyas was the compiler who
compiler.
compiled. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But look at the rishis, look at the ancient rishis. They got this from where? We can say from the divine only, no?
Yeah.
So no, it's a source which is Sanatan, that which cannot be destroyed. So despite all this attempts to destroy the Upanishads, though we lost a lot of them, there is no what we can say. We cannot do things about what we have lost, but we can become conscious of the loss. Yet what remains itself is so powerful. You pick up these Upanishads. You have Isha, Kena, Mandukya, Mundaka, so many Upanishads. About Mandukya Upanishad, it is said, if you understand this Upanishad, moksha is yours. How many verses? Just say 12 verses in that Upanishad. If you study it, it looks like it's only Om. Om iti edaksharamidam sarvam tasyopa vyakhyanam bhutam bhavat bhavishyaditi sarvam omkarameva. It looks like a description of Om. You look at Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad looks like a long story. It is said to be a dialogue between Yama and Nachiketas. Look at Isha Upanishad. It's rhythmic, it's beautiful, but it talks about duality and rising beyond the duality. Vidya, avidya, going beyond it, realizing divinity in the world. So everywhere they are all going for the same truth that the Vedas had understood. The Upanishads were taking only. They were a little bit more structured. They were more structured in a way according to the Rishi. I think teachers, we must be going back in memory in school. We must be all having a teacher who likes to always tell a story. Has anybody got such an experience? Yes? Oh, yes, sir. Kahani bata dena. Please tell me this story. Anybody remembers asking this way to your teacher? Yes. So the teacher would say in the form of story. But there were some other teachers who would be very strict, would say, no, only one word, two word. But both would be effective in their own ways because each person's style is different. Like that, each Upanishad has a different style. Kena Upanishad is mystic. It has its own questions. Like that, all these Upanishads, they talk about the same Brahman, different ways, the supreme truth. How do we realize it? These are all, again, texts for realizing the Upanishads. Now, I just talked about the smallest Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad. I talked about realizing that would give you mukti. It is said in Muktika Upanishad that this Upanishad gives you the liberation. Can someone tell me how many shlokas are there in the Gita, in Bhagavad Gita? Yes.
700.
Yes, Rajiv ji says 700. Anybody agrees? Yes?
Yes, 700.
All right, there are 700 shlokas. Now, why do we read 700 shlokas of Gita if Mukti is going to be got by reading Mandukya Upanishad? We can read it at least 10 times and still we will be taking less time, isn't it? If everybody ultimately wants understanding and liberation. Why have a workshop on Bhagavad Gita? Why not have it on Mandukya only? My question is, does reading guarantee realization? Right, I read Mandukya Upanishad 50 times. So now Mukti is mine 50 times, 50. Can I say that? Is reading equal to realization? My question is this. Yes. Is reading equal to realization?
No.
No. Manisha ji says no. And Dhananjay ji, want to share something? Yes, sir?
Yeah, I also wanted to say no.
No. All right. No. So realization is something, and it is said this Vedantic wisdom, Brahma Vidya, begins where the mind ends. And like when we go to a foreign country, we need a passport. Like that, for entering into the kingdom of Brahma Vidya, we need Guru Diksha. We need to get that Diksha, and then you can access that kingdom of Vedanta. And Vedantic wisdom is of like there are different schools of Vedanta. There's Dvaita, there is Advaita, there's Vishishta Advaita. What are they talking about? They're talking about the same highest truth, the Vedantic principle, and yet approaching it in different ways. So now comes the question, Guru Bina Jnana kahan se pau? How will I get now? I will not be able to study my Upanishads also anytime now. I have not found a Guru. What do I do? So again, like Veda, we can use Bhagavad Gita, say Krishna Vande Jagat Gurum, recognize Krishna's teachings, understand the truth of the Vedanta. You will see that Vedanta reflecting in the Bhagavad Gita also. Pick up any adhyaya of the Bhagavad Gita, you will find the Vedantic truth. That is why our Bhagavad Gita is called Gitopanishad. Bhagavad Gita is called an Upanishad in itself. It is said, Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopala Nandanaha. All the Upanishads are like cows. Who is the milker? It is Krishna who is the milker. What is he milking? He is milking the Gitamrita. Who is that calf who is enjoying that milk? That is none other than Arjuna. So yes, Vedantic truth also, because Gita is called a Pramana Shastra. A Pramana Shastra is a Shastra which is recognized. Anybody is from the scientific community, you've written research papers or you've come across research papers? Yes? Anybody? Have you published or studied it? Anybody aware of the research methodology in modern times? Do you have something called citations that we do use references? Anybody has heard of it? Yes? Why do we use these references? Anyone? Yes, anybody? What are references required for?
They have to substantiate the findings.
Yes, we have to substantiate the findings. We need evidence, and for evidence, we need to have a reliable source of evidence, isn't it? So
They are
like
sort
that.
of pramana. They are sort of
Pramana.
pramana.
Yes, modern day we call that is a pramana only. And then there are different types of pramanas. There is something called pratyaksha pramana, direct evidence. It's like I get a sakshatkar, if I have to get a realization, maybe with a direct sakshatkar, I can get a realization. But then there is also called shabda pramana. Shabda pramana means the words of a reliable source, a reliable person. That is also called a pramana. For example, my mother says, I am your mom. Will I say, show me DNA certificate? No, I will not ask that because I don't want to slap. That is one more thing, but also because I've lived my life that way. I have lived, she has raised me, and I know this, and she is a primary source in this aspect. When she says it, it is It is Satya for me. It is Satya Vachan. It is Brahma Vakya for me. So, like that, Gita, the words of Sri Krishna have been recognized by all these beautiful schools of Mimamsa. We had a very scientific approach in the ancient times, as we have today as well. But all these Shastras, they recognized Gita as a Pramana Shastra, or a Shastra that is infallible. It is accurate what it says. It says about the Gita, yes, we agree. We agree. The wisest ones in the ancient times also, they understood the truths of the Gita and they said, yes, this truth is reflected. So Gita is called a Pramana Shastra. Till date, nobody has been able to tear it apart because it is Sanatan. It is something which is very divine, which is very perfect. Means there was a freedom to question. Means if you see, there were fights even among the schools of Vedanta. Actually, teachers didn't have the fights. It is the students who have the fights. So it's something like that. The one school, no, you are saying God is dual, God is two. One says no, ekameva dvitiyam. Not, I don't believe in this. Divine and creator and creation are not separate. Creator and creation are one. Another was where we can say Vishishta Advaita. But my simple question is, if all three have different views, how can they have the same Shabda Pramana? Like, how can they have a same Pramana Shastra? Because the Vedantic school is using reference of Gita for giving their interpretation. The Advaita school also is using, the Dvaita also, Vishishta Advaita. They say Pramana Shastra Gita. So who is correct then? Pramana Shastra Gita is correct is what all agree. So there we don't have a question, doubt. But now then what do? This Vedantic schools have opposite opinions. And they have the same reference book which highlights. What does that indicate? Shruti ji, do you want to add something?
No.
No. All right, ji, fine. I'll then, yes, ji, all right, then I'll mute. Yes, can someone tell me what is when we have different truths coming out? Are they different truths or they are different dimensions of the same truth? Yes. Anyone? Can one truth have many interpretations as well? Anybody?
Truth is always one.
Okay.
Truth is always one. There cannot be any different interpretations in truth.
Okay.
Only if there's a false, anything that is false will have many dimensions, but truth is always.
So there is only one God. Shweta ji?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, we call God by different names, but it is only one. So the divine is always one. So we
Divine
can take him.
So is it wrong to have these many names? Especially these Indians. These Indians, they are all worshipping so many gods. Themselves confused. This is what a lot of people say. They are all worshipping false gods. Do you feel
Yeah.
that?
No, it's not false gods, but it is by different names. Like
So
the
then-
person, like called
Then-
something at home. Outside, I'll be called by some other name.
Yeah,
By my
yeah.
friends, something else. But I'm the same person. So it is the
Yes.
same way.
We have so many, isn't it? There's a Kuladevat also. There's a Ishtadevat. There is a Ishtadevat, Kuladevat. Sometimes Aradhya is different given by the Guru. If you see, there's a Grama Devata also. There's also a Sthana Devata, Vastu Devata in your house also. So how many Devatas are there? Now, are they doing wrong then by worshipping so many Devatas? Or they are also perceiving untruth. They are understanding some portion of the truth. Okay, Dhananjay ji wants to add something? Yes, ji.
Actually, it is always said that the God is Nirguna Nirakar.
And what about
whatever-
Saguna Sakar? He's also called Saguna Sakar.
Those are in our minds, individuals' minds. So
Okay,
I
that
think
is,
somebody
interpretation.
thinks
Yes, sir.
Vishnu as God, somebody thinks maybe Shiva as God, but they are
Okay.
all one.
They're all one. So oneness, we are not denying their understanding, isn't it? Somebody else is understanding. Chalo, usko wo darshan ho gaya, usko wo connect hua. Means we are understanding that one truth can have different dimensions, but the truth is one. Ekam sat bepraha bahuda vadanti. One truth is perceived by the wise in many ways. Kathopanishad, the teacher felt like, chalo, अभी कहानी बता देते हैं, एक कट कहानी of Yama and Nachiketas. So Brahma Vidya can be got through the mode of this. Another was like, क्यों कहानी बताना छोटे से शब्दों में? मांडुक्य उपनिषद, अ उ म, and the Chaturtham Manyante, which is the fourth part of the Om, it is in silence. Shantam Shivam Advaitam it is called. So again, that was a different. So we see different approaches are there for the same truth, but whatever these Vedantic truths are, these Vedantic truths also are telling the same highest Satya. That Satya can be perceived, and to understand this, probably Bhagavad Gita is going to help us, because Gita is called Gita Upanishad. This thing I can assure you is, after the Bhagavad Gita study, when you pick up any Upanishad of your choice, whether it may be the smallest or Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it's like a big forest, huge one. Whichever Upanishad you pick up, you will find something very interesting. You may actually find that just like how these Vedic rishis of the Vedas are not so far away from us, the Upanishadic seers also will appear close to you, because Gita makes that easy. That is what the Bhagavad Gita is. So here, yes, Rajivji, you want to share something? Yes, sir.
There's one word which is defining the Bhagavad Gita, which is Advait Amrita Varshini.
Okay, Advaita Amrita Varshini. Ji, so we break the words only, Advaita, remaining, just removing the distinctions or discords or divisions. Then Amrita is nectar. Varshini is like the rain, isn't it? Yes, Ji. Absolutely. So, all right. So this is something which we see. Now, we did have a very interesting conversation with everybody on the significance of Gita in terms of Shastra, in terms of the ancient times. But modern generation ask a very nice question. They say, so what? Why? Why should we read the Gita? So, theek hai, it has great significance. I don't have time. I'm not going to read Vedas. I'm not going to read Upanishads. I'm going to live a life. I'm going to be busy. I want to earn. They say YOLO, you live only once. Whether it's correct or not, we don't know. We'll see if Gita also uses the same concept. It tells you live only this once in this life, but there are other lives also. But so then, is the Gita to be read only after retirement? Or is the Gita to be read only after a particular time? That is my question. Because I remember one uncle told me, this is not the age. I started a little early because of my Guru's Krupa. We can say his Krupa. I picked up the book, but I was told you should date Gita. You should not read Gita now. This is not the age for you. And a lot of people were very much disturbed. So my question is, in modern times, what is the reference of, what is the use of Gita? Anyone?
In fact, it should be introduced in the schools. That is what I
Prakash
feel.
says, okay, yes, Prakash says it should be introduced in schools. Since 2015, I'm lucky our organization has been taking the Gita to schools actively, and we're seeing very good results in children. Children start talking about Karma Yoga, and one boy in USA is refusing pocket money from his father and saying, ये मेरा कर्मयोग है, घर के काम के लिए मैं पैसे क्यों लूंगा? And father is shocked, because how is it this child is understanding something? Or yes, so Om Prakash says, right, it should be introduced to schools. So, but I think we are not in this, our group is nobody from the school going children's group. We are adults. What is the relevance of Gita? Dr. Shruti wants to add something, is it? Yes? No. All right. Anybody would like to add something? Yes.
Life
It's
lessons.
relevant. Life lessons. Nagraji, you are from just, if you are, what are you doing? Just asking from, just out of curiosity. You are from which background?
I'm an engineer and I have retired from the
Okay,
service
sir.
after 60
Okay,
years.
sir. You have retired from engineering. So, life lessons, how important do you think life lessons are? And do you feel Gita can impart them?
Many of them. In fact, you can use them for everything in your daily
Okay.
practice.
Okay, so Gita is something which can be used in day-to-day life, is what Nagaraj is saying. Somebody from the younger generation also, from, I think, who are current engineers, anybody? Because I saw in the introductions a lot of engineers. It was interesting for me that a lot of mechanical engineers are there, because I'm also a mechanical engineer. It's the first time I'm in the company of so many engineers after probably college. Yes, please. So, everyday life, how do you think it is useful? Anyone? Or we want to find out and we feel it might be useful, but we're not sure actually if it's useful. That's also fine. We're not in a rigid society here. Yes, sir. Rajiv ji. Yes, sir.
Well, actually, it is years back when I was a young engineer,
Okay,
and
sir.
I had started reading the Bhagavad Gita
Okay.
and trying to understand it. I
Hmm.
got an experience as an engineer as to how the shlokas actually
Ha.
helped me execute a project that I was doing. It
Wow.
was a very practical experience that I got.
Okay. So,
So,
engineer, which engineering you are from, Rajiv ji?
I am a mechanical engineer.
Or also mechanical, material, mechanical engineering, which is said to be what we can say farthest away from divinity, but it's not the case. In the or maybe divinity is in the materials also, in material science as well. That is
Exactly.
something one participant talked about his experience of he said Sundara Kanda is there in electroplating. And what he gave a beautiful example of electron transfer, and he was so nicely he was talking about it. It was very surprising. So, all right, maybe it has its significance, but let us go to some names. I'll give you random names. You can just tell me if you have who are not so from the Vedic era, but who are from the era which is not so far away. Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Anybody has heard of him? He was called Tilak Maharaj. Can you tell me his connection with the Gita? Anybody? Yes.
He used to say, independence is my birthright.
Swaraj is my birthright. Yes, that time it was important. And what is his connection with the Gita, sir?
You know,
He has
when
written.
yeah,
Yes,
please.
ji? Okay,
Go
somebody
ahead, go
was
ahead.
adding. Yeah, please go on.
No, no.
From
Mr.
Prakash.
Om Prakash was saying
Dhananjay ji,
something, so I
No,
stopped.
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Please,
please go
please.
on. Yes, ji, Dhananjay ji.
So, see, Lokmanya Tilak has written a book called Gita Rasya, which is a maybe extract or maybe meaning of Gita. And Rasya is he wanted to
Secret.
maybe tell people that what is the secret in this divine book.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, Dhananjay ji, it's like Sri Aurobindo talked about secret of the Veda. Probably Gita Haras says like having the secret of the Gita. So okay. So many time in Maharashtra, a lot of people feel this Karmanye Madhika Raste Mam Phaleshu Kadachana was actually uttered by Lokmanya Tilak. That is what people feel because he lived that principle so strong. He was so strong in that, and he created a breed of Karma Yogi freedom fighters who were willing to dedicate everything for the mission, and that mission was Swarajya. So Swarajya. So for understanding real meaning of Swarajya, also probably Bhagavad Gita is important because a lot of youngsters in many colleges they have slogans, "Hame chahiye azadi." But what is this azadi? What is the real meaning of azadi? Azadi from what? From going to college, or from the rules, or from what we can say the lower natures and lower aspects which are not allowing a personality to progress. We need freedom from these bondages. But to understand that, so we saw. So was he Ahimsavadi, Lokmanya Tilak? Anybody? Yes. Did he
No,
believe in?
he was not Ahinsawadi.
He was not Ahinsavadi. We can say Shatham Prati Shathyam. The person who is attacking me will be given back. Those invaders who are attacking the Rashtra should understand in a language that they will never dare to invade again. So he created this group, what we can say, breed of freedom fighters. Now we go to one more personality, Mahatma Gandhi, as he's called by many. Yes, his connection with the Gita. Did he have a connection with the Gita? Yes or no? Yes?
Yes,
Anybody? What
yes,
was it, Jay?
non-violence.
Okay, so he got the principle of ahimsa. Ahimsa also he has got from Gita. He says he got inspired from Gita. He even quotes some shlokas of the Gita. It was his experience that when he went to UK and in the library, the Gita book was the most referred book. And it's also the most translated book. Actually, everybody has got a translation. I also have one. I'll be using it as a reference. But what does it mean? It means there's a freedom for interpretation also. Nobody will say this blasphemy, you have interpreted it like this. Now you are not going to live. No, it's not like that. So Gita it is most translated scripture in Asia. That is Bhagavad Gita. So now we see two different views, but both these personalities had a big role in what we can say the shaping of India's what we can history also and its destiny as well. They had an important role. People may agree, disagree. These are opposite views. Like that, if you look at Swami Vivekananda, his connection with the Gita. Anybody? Yes? Anything? Yes, please. Can someone give me can someone tell me something? Any real link between him and the Gita? Or he never read the Gita? Or profess don't read the Gita? Is there something like that? Anything? Yes, please. Whatever you know about him. Has he written something about the Gita? Swami Vivekananda somewhere?
Yeah, he's put Gita in simple words through his books and his
Yeah,
speeches and
isn't
all.
it?
Yeah.
Yes, and he was quite a powerful personality, isn't it? A lion kind of person. There he said, we'll make lions out of people. Because India was in kind of what we can say a tamasic slumber. He shook that. Come on, rise. And what did they do? They started working for what? Betterment of the people only, isn't it?
The betterment of the
There
people and the society.
and the society. We
Yeah.
have Ramakrishna missions now. We have Ramakrishna missions again. Did Swami Vivekananda get an instruction and order from his guru that you start this mission in my name? No, he did not. He decided, let me do something. Let me do something for the world. And he named it after his guru. But if you see it work is even if Swami Vivekananda is not present in physical presence right now, or Ramakrishna Paramahansa is not here, still their works are going on, isn't it? So he started something which is beautiful. It is still ongoing. We can say yes. So again, another great example. If you look at anybody a little bit, Sunita Williams. Has anybody heard of her? Sunita Williams.
Yes, the astronomer.
Yeah. So what's her speciality with the Gita? What's her link? A great scientific personality, isn't it? And yet, what did she feel? She felt, yes, I have to take the Gita. I have to take the Gita. She became the first woman to take the celestial scripture in the celestial world, outside of the world, isn't it? So something is there. Something is there in the Gita that is connecting people of different types. And you see a lot of great people. You see in medicine, everybody must have heard of this psychoanalysis. Carl Jung, he's considered a very important personality here. And they all learn about him. Well, he also had a great connection with the Gita. During this COVID times, anybody I don't know if everybody is aware, there was something called the European Heart Journal that published an article on the Gita. Now, where is cardiology and where is Bhagavad Gita? And this is an international journal, not an Indian journal. If somebody has published papers, you can understand how difficult it is to get a paper vetted through their very rigid screening process, especially when it's something like philosophy. Why will a journal want to talk about it? No. This principles of...
Even Oppenheimer.
Oh, yes, Shruti ji. Oppenheimer, anybody? Yes, Shruti ji, would you like to share about it? Yes, ji. Something about Oppenheimer.
Yes, he was very, very impressed with the Bhagavad Gita. And
Yeah.
he was reading the Bhagavad Gita also. Yes, he had a different version or different understanding of it. But yes, he
Yes.
was very much influenced by the Bhagavad Gita, Oppenheimer.
Okay, so influenced that at a very pivotal moment, he could recollect a verse of the Gita, isn't it, ji?
Yes, yes.
Yes, so in the Manhattan Project, that huge nuclear mushroom cloud rising in the sky, that time he remembers the shloka of the Gita. So whether or not he's understood the Gita, whether or not he's interpreted the Gita, the fact that a person who is not connected is not a cultural root of his, but he felt at this important, powerful, we can say terrible moment also, but powerful also. At that moment, he's able to connect a shloka of the Gita at that time. Anybody knows the name of that shloka at least? Something about the shloka? Or his interpretation also is fine. He says, I am become death. I am become death. Okay, but yes, we'll come across that shloka in the Gita later on. Where it comes also is interesting. It comes in chapter of the Vishwarupa. It's also like watching a nuclear explosion, watching it going. But the shloka was Kalos me. I am time. Unfortunately, Oppenheimer understood it little differently. He thought he has become Kala, but now I can probably Kala has taken him, maybe. I don't know. Let us continue. But we have to see. Yes, so we see again, one side ahimsa, another side nuclear bomb also, another side Vedantic truths. If you see Swami Vivekananda, there we have now European Heart Journal. We talked about modern science. If anybody goes into this PubMed, which they say all research papers are published, medical research paper, and type Bhagavad Gita, you will find page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4 results on research papers on Bhagavad Gita. People are talking about Gita and psychoanalysis. They say Krishna's model of psychotherapy is best. All these factors just indicate that the Bhagavad Gita has a relevance. We have also, I think, doctors in our group. Dr. Atulji is there. He's a retired doctor. But doctor, would you like to share something about your, what do you think about the Gita, Dr. Atulji? Yes, sir. In the medical, from your medical point of view, how do you think it's, what do you think, sir?
It helps us a lot in remaining grounded.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many, situations where we feel that there is something more beyond human beings. And
Okay.
in our day-to-day life also, when we are working, it tells us how to maintain equanimity. There are situations where we get carried away. But if you have that
Grounding.
the equanimity, you remain grounded, you know what to do, what not to do. And,
Okay, all right. Ji. So probably Viveka Buddhi is required everywhere in any profession, and Gita helps us get that, attain that, isn't it, Dr. Atulji? Yes, absolutely. Whether you're a sports person, you're a doctor, you're a scientist, you're a researcher, anywhere, we all use our mind. But how to use the mind, that is, we require a manual. So that is why Bhagavad Gita is that manual. Sri Aurobindo called it a manual for perfecting the human race. He talked about the next level of consciousness. Maybe from Homo sapiens, we'll go to Homo luminous. We don't know what is the next state of consciousness. But what we understand is Bhagavad Gita is a tool which is going to help a person transform. Yes, I think its relevance, I think we have successfully established today, haven't we? Or are there any doubts on why we are going to study? Because why we need, when Gita talks about knowing and understanding why things are done rather than doing it just merely as a ritual. So our workshop, we are doing this because Gita has a role in raising our consciousness. We can say that a lot of powerful people have got influenced by the Gita. Yes or no? Any percent. The names are endless, actually. We will run out of time, but the number of people will not end. The list will not end. Even Tulsi Gabbard, she took an oath on the Gita. I mean, that was also interesting. In a foreign country, somebody is recognizing and openly saying, yes, Gita is source of strength. In India, we hesitate. We feel it's not right to speak about it. But it's not the case. It is not the case. And things are changing. Times are changing as well now. But my question is, can we also attribute a little bit of the greatness of these people to the Gita?
Definitely.
Can we say that great people picked up the Gita, or maybe people picking up the Gita became great also?
People picking up the Gita became great.
Absolutely. A lot of people who have understood the Gita have automatically gone to a higher state of consciousness just by understanding of the Gita. That is the power of this beautiful scripture. It is called a seed scripture because from this you can understand. Nobody in the world will tell you don't know about Sanatana Dharma. Many times we get afraid or worried. I don't know anything about this ritual. What will I do? I'm papi. I'm so sinner. So many such. We carry unnecessary burdens. As if we are Atlas. We have to understand. Even Atlas, we should go and whisper, ki, bhai, don't worry, Shesha is holding. You go for a walk in the park. Prithvi is happy. You don't have to carry the entire weight of the world. Do your duty. This aspect of Bhagavad Gita, having its significance in all dimensions of life, is something which is important to understand before we begin our workshop. Because once we begin, then we will be able to interpret it that way. We will not be using our time for Vada on why has this particular interpretation is speaking. I have one book in my hand, another person will have. You are welcome to have all book, whichever book you want. But please do not ask, why is this book in my hand talking like this? Why is that book talking like that? That could be probably a subject of debate. We may grow old also and still this Vad will not end. Which is the correct, whether Dvaita interpretation is right or Advaita is right. We're not going to go into that. We're going to look at its practical everyday significance. And we will see if Gita is also what we call practical Vedanta. Well, that is understood through the Gita as well. Because even Vedanta is not impractical. It is also very practical. And that will be our approach when we go through this Gita. And this much I can say is after this workshop, I don't think you will feel far away from the Gita. You will be ready to take up any other scripture as well and understand that this is the bedrock of what we call Sanatana Dharma. So with this, we are ready to complete the session. Just every day we'll have a small recollection. Tomorrow we will begin with the small story of the Gita and start off the first adhyaya. So we understand what is the background. It begins in the Kurukshetra that was said in our session. It was said by a participant. I'm unable to see her right now. So yes, so this Bhagavad Gita begins not in a library, not in a seminar room, not in some conference hall. It is there in the middle of a battlefield. So a great a dialogue is going to take place between Krishna and Arjuna. Why is that battle? Why is this Kurukshetra? Something about Pandava and Kaurava. All of that we'll see tomorrow and begin with the first shloka of the Gita. Every day when we complete the session, I will need the help of the participants to complete the session, after which I will say the Shanti Mantra. My completion would require, for that I need a small recap. If someone can just add 2-3 points, what we saw today, so that will be in Smaran as we complete the session. Can someone tell me what we saw today a little bit? It was more on the introduction and relevance of the Gita. Anybody would like to just surmise for all of us?
Yeah, I think I will do it.
Sure, ma'am.
Yes, we started with the source of the Bhagavad Gita. It's in the Bhishma Parva. And then you spoke about the Vedas, Vedantic texts, Upanishad, and then the Gita. The root of Veda, Vidya, all the 4 Vedas and the Suktas. Then the secret of Vedas by Sri Aurobindo. And the 4 Vedas are churned into Bhagavad Gita, which is the base to learn the other more difficult or so-called complex scriptures. Then you spoke about the 700 shlokas in Bhagavad Gita and the Advait, Vait and Visishta Advait Upanishad, school of Mimamsa. Yes, and then you spoke about Guru and Guru bina Gnan kahan se pao, but Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Gita is a Gita Upanishad, Pramana Shastra, Kalki Upanishad. And then we all spoke about the importance and relevance of Bhagavad Gita as of today, in today's world. Why should we learn Bhagavad Gita? And you gave us some examples about the great Maharathis like Tilak, Gandhiji, Sri Aurobindo, and who have made Bhagavad Gita to raise the level of consciousness, to manifest the aspirations and become a better human being, to have Vivek Buddhi. Even the psychiatrists and psychoanalysts use Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna is the best psychiatrist or psychoanalyst who will teach us the way of life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shruti ji. That was so beautifully said. I would say, yes, Aparna ji, who is also a psychologist and she has a studio of her own, mind studio, we can say. She's also agreed. Thank you, Shruti ji, for a beautiful summary. I don't think I could have also managed this so wonderfully. So we are ready now to complete with the Shanti Mantra. I look forward for a new journey of the Bhagavad Gita with all of you tomorrow. Yes, one more thing. I will be using this book as a reference. This Bhagavad Gita, Rhythm of Krishna. This was written in 15, I think. Yeah, 2015. That is the poetry of the Gita in light of Sri Aurobindo's essays on the Gita. But it's not mandatory to have this book. Previous participants sometimes felt it's good to have this book in the hand. You will probably know what I'm speaking before I speak as well. And it would be easier. If you want, the link is there. I can share the link again if anybody needs it. But if you have some other book of the Gita, any other, there are so many beautiful translations of the Gita, you can keep them with you as well, because the shlokas will not change. The shlokas are the same. And our aim is to look at it in a very practical way. So with this, we will conclude with the Shanti Mantra. I look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kasyid dukkha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Tat Sat. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Hari Om. See you tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you for this
Haribol.
opportunity.
Haribol.
Hari Om.
Haribol.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Jai Shri Krishna. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Namaskar.
Haribol.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om. If anybody has any queries, you are welcome. No, they will always be welcome. At the end of the session, sometimes if time doesn't permit, so you are welcome to ask anything if you have any. Otherwise, we'll conclude the session. Yes, Ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Hari Om.
Hari Om. All right, Ji. Then in that case, I'll conclude. Thank you, everyone.